Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On September 15th, 1978, the self-proclaimed greatest boxer Muhammad Ali won a decision on points against former U.S. Marine Leon Spinks, winning back the heavyweight boxing championship he had held twice before. Ali became the first three-time heavyweight champion, having previously won the crown in a fight against Sonny Liston in 1964, defending his title 9 times successfully before losing his crown during a dispute with the U.S. government over military conscription in 1967. Ali returned to the ring in 1970, winning a pair of fights before challenging Joe Frazier for the title. Ali lost that first Frazier fight, but then won the crown back in 1974 when he beat Big George Foreman in Zaire. Ali defended his second title 10 times before losing to Spinks in 1978. Only 7 months later, Ali won his third major heavyweight championship. On September 16, 1979, 8 people yearning to be free of oppressive communism in East Germany made a flight to freedom in a hot air balloon to West Germany. Amazingly, the escapees had been plotting their flight for over 18 months and had failed in a previous attempt. Lucky for them, the authorities were unable to identify the would-be aeronauts. The successful balloon was the third balloon constructed by the determined Germans. Germany had been separated into Soviet and other Allied zones after the end of World War II in Europe, with East Germany dominated by the Communist Soviet Union and the West becoming West Germany, united under the auspices of the Western Allies. West Germany was considerably wealthier and freer than East Germany. Germans fleeing East Germany became an embarrassment for the Communists. As a question for my students and subscribers, have you ever visited an Eastern Bloc communist country? On September 17, 1961, downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was the site of the first retractable roof arena in the world, although its purpose may surprise you. The Civic Arena was built mainly as the home of the Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera, although it moved into the sporting world in a big way in 1967 when it became the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins NHL hockey team until 2010 when it finally closed. Of course, the 17,000-seat arena also hosted many other sporting events, professional and amateur, including basketball, wrestling, boxing, soccer, figure skating, gymnastics, and roller derby, as well as stage events such as musical concerts. Big-name politicians appeared at events in the arena, and it was built for a bargain $22 million. As a question for my students and subscribers, have you ever attended a retractable roof arena? On September 18, 1812, the conquering French Grande Armée was appalled to see that the giant fires set by retreating Russians had destroyed almost all of the city of Moscow. Napoleon and his troops were left without food and shelter to face the upcoming winter. Either as scorched earth policy or vindictiveness, burning cities in war is common. In the case of Moscow, the city was burned by its own people to deprive the enemy of its resources. When Washington, D.C. was burned by the British in 1814, the act of mass arson was to punish the upstart Americans. The U.S. Civil War saw many southern cities burned, notably Jackson, Mississippi, Richmond, Virginia, and Atlanta, Georgia, Columbia and Charleston, South Carolina, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, among others. World War II saw aerial firebombing on a massive scale, with many German and Japanese cities burned to the ground. On September 19, 1991, the mummified body of a man that lived around 3,350 to 3,105 BC was discovered in the Ötztal Alps between Austria and Italy. The name of the mountains was used to name the mummy Ötzi, and the long-dead Iceman became a celebrity. Preserved by the snow and ice on the mountains, this Copper Age man was found to probably have been murdered, an arrowhead found in his shoulder and other wounds implying so. Ötzi was found by tourists from Germany at a height of 10,530 feet. Believing the body to be of a modern climber, they notified police who tried to remove the mummy, but had a hard time of it because of it being frozen in the ice. Ötzi was subjected to intense examination and controversy over who the mummy belonged to. He is believed to have been about 5 foot 3 inches in height and weighed about 110 pounds while alive. On September 20th, 2001, U.S. President George W. Bush, speaking to Congress and the American people, declared a war on terror. Initial attacks against terrorist bases went well, but the war soon bogged down in Iraq, diverting the effort, and the U.S. ended up in a 20-year occupation of Afghanistan, only for the Taliban to take over when the Americans left. Some other declared wars that did not go well for the initiator include the War on Poverty, declared by President Lyndon Johnson in 1964, which saw massive federal spending and the creation of programs to reduce poverty. It was initially successful but has stagnated or even regressed since the end of the 1960s. In the War on Drugs, declared by President Richard Nixon in 1971, the U.S. has been fighting a losing battle against illegal drugs ever since, a battle often criticized as being racist and class warfare. Russia's attempt to take over Ukraine in 2022 is still failing at this time. On September 21st, 1170, invading Normans, Vikings that had settled in France, captured the Kingdom of Dublin and established their own Irish kingdom, replacing a previous Viking kingdom in Ireland from the 9th century. Vikings, the premier seafarers of the 8th through the 11th centuries, spread their DNA far and wide in their travels, both in trade and in conquest. Many Europeans today have genes passed down from the Vikings, people from modern Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, countries that today have a combined population of only around 22 million. Places that have Viking heritage today include Scandinavia, Britain, Ireland, France, Germany, the Baltic states, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Poland, Bulgaria, Iceland, Greenland, Mediterranean countries, the Middle East, and North Africa. Vikings even traveled to North America. Do you have Viking heritage? As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.